Okay, let's go ahead and find some more VAs. So this function f of x has x squared minus 9 divided by x minus 3. So first I'm going to look for the candidates. What makes the denominator equal to 0? The denominator will be 0 when x itself is 3, or when x is, let's say, 0. I'm getting ahead of myself. And when x is 3. So those are the two candidates that make the denominator equal to 0. Now, which one of those is going to be the one that we call VA? Which one of those is not going to be VA? So I grab the denominator and I set it equal to 0, find out the candidates. So these are the candidates. And to know which one of those is the right answer, which one is the VA, which one is not, we take the number and we put it into the numerator. So the numerator is x squared minus 9. What do you get when you plug, let's say, 0? So when you plug in 0, you get 0 squared minus 9, which is at the end negative 9. This is not 0. So it's kind of a good thing for 0, because 0 is now going to have a VA. So x equals 0 has a vertical asymptote. Okay, so that's the end of the test for basically 0. So it's a good thing 0 has a VA. All right, so now what about the other number 3? Is that a good answer or no? Is it going to be a good candidate or no? So let's see, x squared minus 9. When you plug in 3, you get 3 squared minus 9, which is 0. And that's kind of a bad thing for 3, because now 3 has no VA. So if the number makes your numerator and denominator 0 at the same time, the number itself is not a VA. So technically 3 should not be the answer. The only answer is 0 for this problem. Okay, so take a moment to see if you can do the next problem, and I'll give you the answer in a second. So pause the video and try the f of x over here by yourself. Okay, so for this one, we're gonna grab the denominator again. The denominator is pretty much x squared plus x minus 6, and so we're gonna investigate what makes it 0. To do that, we'll need to factor. I'm looking for 2 numbers multiplied negative 6, but when you add them, you get 1. And the numbers that would work are negative 3 and positive 2. Well, let's see. No, I need a positive 3 and maybe possibly a negative 2 for it to work. So let's see, does it work with positive 3 and negative 2? When you multiply them, you get negative 6. When you add them, you get 1. So yeah, it seems like it's going to work. So at this point, I'm just going to take my denominator and write it as x minus 2 and x plus 3. So x minus 2 and plus 3. So what are the roots? What makes the first parentheses 0? The number there is 2, and the second number is negative 3. So those are what we're being calling in this section so far the candidates. So which one of them is going to be the right vertical asymptote? Let's test it out. So take your numerator, x squared minus 5x plus 6, and plug the number 2 into all the x's. And what do you get? You get 2 squared minus 5 times 2, and then plus 6. Is that going to be 0 at the end? Let's find out. 4 minus 10 plus 6. It is 0. This is kind of bad. It means 2 is not a VA. So x equal 2 is not a VA because it made the numerator and denominator both equal to 0. Okay, can you test negative 3 and tell me if you get 0 or not? So when I test negative 3, it turns out that negative 3 is in fact a VA because the number I get is something that's not 0. As a matter of fact, it's going to be 30, but you know, who cares? That tells me that negative 3 is not a VA. So that's good news for, for the negative 3 over here. So that's a VA, and that's it. So try the last one on your own, and I'll give you the answer in a different video.